Hey folks, welcome to another live stream of Cutter One. I am your host, JayJustJay, your resident troublemaker, your resident culture warrior. I hope you're all doing awesome. It is Saturday. It's a nice Saturday here in my part of the world. I hope it is lovely where you guys are. Got Mrs. JayJustJay, Shady J, doing her thing and moderating the chat. So say hello. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, brother? Hope all is well with you, my friend. So yeah, it's been a week. It has definitely been a week. Oh, and I am so glad that it is Saturday. Although hasn't been a great one. Has not been a great one. You know, here in the U.S., it's, you know, we just started tax season, which is basically we find out. You know, either we're getting money back from the government or the government says that you owe us more money. We've been taking money out of your paychecks all year and you owe us a little bit more. And unfortunately, I fell into that category this year where I had to give them a little bit more. So I'm not too happy about that. But hey, it is what it is, right? I got my health. So, all right. So we're going to get started on this episode. Hello, how you doing? That is an awesome name. Lurch Troll Slight Return. Hail. Welcome to you, my friend. It has been a full week. Could not find time to do anything. Finished all my duties around 2 hours ago. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, man. It was just like the universe was just like dead set on just trying to fight me every step of the way. Like, oh my God. But, you know, like I said, you know, we're here. It's the weekend. Let's try and enjoy it. Let's have some fun. So we will spend some time chatting and BSing. We're gonna be watching Tales of the Rings, Dol Guldur, the Haunted Hill of Sauron. That's gonna be this evening's feature. It's actually good. I sort of previewed a minute or two of it, and it's looking like a good one. So we'll check that out. We got a music video coming up. I believe her name is Karliene, and she has done a song called Lament, the Lament for Boromir. I have not heard it, so I will be checking it out with you guys for the first time. And let's see, what else we got on tap. We got a couple of like, I guess, channel updates, news updates, or whatever. We got updates on Shady J's book. Okay, the Knights of Temuin. Yeah, exactly. It is a good time. I don't know. For some reason, it's just like, you know, I'm like beyond the point where it's like, okay, it's the weekend, go out party, right? I at this time, okay, it's sort of like an ode to, like a musical ode to. So when you say a lament, it's usually, it would be for somebody that's passed away. So you have the think in terms of Tolkien, how they have like the lays of Luthien, right? Is sort of like that poem slash music sort of for Luthien, for Beren and Luthien. They've passed, and it's sort of like you're singing their praises, or you're singing about how much they're missed. In the Peter Jackson movies, and in the book, actually, in the Lord of the Rings, the elves of Lothlorien sort of sing a lament for Gandalf when they find out that what happened to him in Moria. Yep. Okay, good. So anyway, so she, this artist, I think, like I said, Karliene or Karliene. I forget if it's Karilene or if it's Karliene. But she did a song, apparently, and it's Lament for Boromir. So we'll check that out. Got some channel updates, couple of channel updates. and when I say channel updates, it's not like I'm changing much of the channel in terms of like what I cover or anything like that, but more some adding some things I may have mentioned in previous sort of weekly like videos during the week, but I figured I would revisit and give people an update on where some of them are. As well as updates on Shady Jay's book. Like I said, The Knights of Temuin. We met with some publishers throughout the week, and when I say met, I'm talking about like conference calls and like Zoom type of stuff. But yeah, so there was a little bit of movement. Nothing set in stone yet, but a little bit of movement on that. Plus, I was going to show you guys some more artwork. I think you might think is kind of cool. And let's see. And the trivia game. I guess that's you know what. I'll just start with some of the channel updates because that was one of them. So I don't know if you've been watching the videos regularly, but early on, and when I say early on, I mean like in the first month or two or something like that, I had mentioned that one of the ideas I had wanted to toy around with was eventually doing a live stream, obviously while we're here. But I was thinking maybe like once a month, right? There be a trivia question, right? Like a monthly trivia question, right? But I was sort of trying to figure out the logistics of, well, how could I make that fair, right? Because I actually wanted there to be like a prize, right? I want there to be a prize. Like if you're going to take the time out and watch the live stream and try and answer the question, right? It should be worth your while. So I figured that there should be some sort of prizes, right? So that started me down the road of looking into this whole 3D printing phenomenon, which I've done and got my hands on a whole 3D printing setup and a UV curing station and IPA alcohol washing station and so on and so forth. But I was sort of trying to get up to speed on the whole process. Well, I can show you guys this, and I don't know how this will come through. I'm trying to get it to focus. Try to focus. Come on, camera. Focus, 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 focus. It's going to be a douche about it. Okay, there you go. All right. So this I printed myself. It was just a test print. I know it doesn't seem like much, right? It doesn't seem you're like, okay, dude, you made a chess piece. Congratulations. You are truly, arrow worthy, because you made a freaking chess piece. And yeah, okay, it is just a chess piece. I get it. But what it means is I've got the 3D printing thing. I've started the process. I'm up to speed. I can actually make things happen now, which this ties into the trivia thing, because if you remember, I had posted a thing about I came across some yeah, okay, all right. So yes. Yeah, no, like I said, this is actually was my second attempt. I got another one it's over by the globe there. But yeah, so I'm thinking, because I found a location where I can purchase some Lord of the Rings based STL files, and that's what these tend to be. They're in a file format STL, which is stereolithographic something or another. And so they have a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff. And when I say Lord of the Rings stuff, I mean like Balrogs and Sauron and Gandalf, as well as like Aragorn, the Hobbits, Gollum, so on and so I'm thinking maybe those could potentially be some prizes for this monthly trivia thing. And I'm thinking, all right, so here's the initial plan for the trivia thing. It would be once a month, because obviously there's some cost involved, right? I would love to do it like every live stream, but there's going to be some cost involved, especially if like some of you guys who are overseas, from my perspective, me being here in the US, if you're in other parts of the world, there could be additional shipping costs for me to get things out to you guys, right? So in that regard, I figured once a month is cool. It would be fine. So the way it's going to work is this, okay? And I'll eventually post something in the community section of the channel too, so for people who may be showing up late to the live stream can get up to speed if they're not here to hear this. So the way it's going to work is it'll be once a month, probably at the end of the last live stream of that particular month, whatever Saturday that happens to be, right? There will be a question. Now the question can be, it's not just going to be limited to like Tolkien stuff, right? It's going to be sort of what we talk about here. It'll be limited to high fantasy, okay? And what I mean by that is it could be Tolkien, it could be Dungeons and Dragons, it could be Dragonlance, it could be Elder Scrolls. It could be something else. Say maybe some trivia from like Willow, the original movie Willow from the 80s, or some other known fantasy IP franchise. So it's not going to be like super obscure that like you would be like, dude, I've never even friggin' heard of what you're talking about. So there was no way I could, I'll try to keep it something that most people who are into high fantasy would be at least on some level aware of, right? So that's what the question pool can be from, right? So don't think it's just going to be Tolkien stuff. Although I could do tons of Tolkien stuff, but some people are new to Tolkien, may not be as, because some of you guys know your Tolkien. I mean, like you guys, like I read some of these like page long, like 9-paragraph responses to some videos, and I'm just like, Jesus, like I didn't realize it was that deep. So I want to make it sort of fair for everybody, right? Because some people may be new to Tolkien or may not be as well versed in Tolkien. So it's going to cover just all of high fantasy. So having said that, so number one, it would be the last live stream of every month, probably starting next month or maybe this month, right? Number two, the question could come from anything high fantasy, but it will be limited to high fantasy or to fantasy. It's not going to be sci-fi. Like I'm not going to hit you with like, a Battlestar Galactica question. As much as a lot of us also like sci-fi, I figured let's keep it to one specific pool of questions, right? And then the way it's going to work is, I'll put the question out there at some point during that last live stream. And then, hey, what's up, Eraserhead? I hope you're doing good, buddy. So I'll put the question out there, and it'll be a matter of whoever answers the question correctly and emails me the correct answer first, okay? And I'll make sure I put my email up on screen, as I'm putting the question out there. But I'll put my email, and whoever emails me first, okay, with the correct answer, that's going to be the person who's the winner. And then I will respond to you through email and get your, particulars so that I could send you whatever that particular prize happens to be. And I figure that's fair. That keeps it fair for everybody. That gives everybody an equally good chance of, potentially, being in the running to win. I figured that's the fairest I could probably make it. So having said that, well, then you're like, well, what would the prizes be? Well, the prizes would be, sort of 3D printed stuff once, I get that down to a reliable science, right? I don't want to promise something and then for some reason I'm screwing something up. And so I will make sure that the prizes are ready ahead of time. So that's one of the things I'm going to be introducing into the channel, into the live stream. Now, another caveat to that is just be aware, the question may pop up at any point during the live stream, right? Because there has to be something in it for me, and I don't want somebody showing up, for the first 5 minutes of a stream or the last 5 minutes of a stream, waiting for the question and then trying to get the answer and get the prize and then not even bothering to stick around for the entire stream. To me, that'd be kind of jacked, right? It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you guys either. So I figured the question will at some point during that live stream at the end of the last Saturday of the month, it'll just... Yes, it does. It does. I mean, I have somewhat of a background in 3D Max, and I dabbled a little bit with Maya, but I would not consider myself an expert in either of those, not by a long shot. Like, I can make really good, cubes and spheres. But so the question will pop up at some point during that hour live stream. Could be 10 minutes into the live stream, could be 30 minutes into the live stream, could be the last 10 minutes of the live stream, only to get people to stick around and want to participate and stuff like that. Is Blender compatible with 3D printers? I do have Blender. I've got the latest version of Blender, which I think it's 3.14 or something like that. As long as you can export as a .stl, 3D resin print, and I should say the 3D resin printers, that's what I'm using, they require the whatever it is you want to print to be in a .stl, which again, like I said, stands for that stereo lithographic something or another. Um, but yeah, as long as Blender can output into a .stl file, you should be good. Now, I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does, or at the very least, I know that there is a plugin, I think a free plugin that you can get. It's an add-on that will allow you to output from Blender to an STL format that would in fact be compatible. I know Blender can work with .objs, and I did on my, because I have one of those Elegoo Saturn II 8K 3D resin printers. That's what I did this on. And I was able to take a 3D model of a figure and get it was in a .obj format, and I got my printer to recognize it as a printable file. Although I didn't do the print yet. So, you could be working with .objs, but I don't want to say that it would definitely work, but it looks like it might work with those as well. And I know for a fact that Blender, works well with those. Can you make export Blender to 3D Studio Max, then export it to STL? Yeah. Okay. Yes, yeah. Like I said, I think it all just comes down to the format. I know Blender works with .objs, and I know for a fact that the printers work with STL because mine actually says it uses .stl files, and they even gave me a test. This was actually from the Elegoo test print, and this was in a .stl format. So yes, like I said, and if Blender doesn't, I do know for a fact that there's a download, like a plugin that will allow you to save, your model as a .stl. Now, what won't come through in the print is texturing, of course. You could get it to print whatever your resin is. Mine happens to be this sort of steel primer gray color. That's what it will be, and then of course if you wanted to paint it, you would paint it afterwards. But yeah, so that's one of I'm working on that. Like I said, I was just happy I wanted to share this with you guys because I finally got the 3D printer thing to the point where now I can start doing test prints of things, which means I get my hands. I've already got a couple. I've got not to say too much, but I've got a couple like Nazgul and stuff like that, files of some statuettes that I'm looking at getting done up so that you guys have something worthy of the trivia game to participate. So that's one thing. The other thing is I might have some other stuff I was thinking about, like if I could come across other things. So, for example, earlier in the week, as some of you I may have heard me reference, I got a shed here on my property, and I use it for storage, and I have a lot of stuff that I have in boxes in storage that I've accumulated over the years, and a lot of them tend to be books. I like to read, and I realized because I was in there earlier in the week, I had multiple copies of several different books that I have, right? So one of the things I had was I found one of my old boxes, and I had a book called the Art of the Dragonlance Saga, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Now I remember this book. I totally forgot I had it. But while I was digging through my stuff, yeah, no worries, dude. No worries, dude. Yeah, take your time. They're not going anywhere. They're there. So take your time. So anyway, so I found this book, and I was like, oh yeah. And then as I was digging deeper in the box, I realized that at some point in my travels, I had apparently forgotten I had that copy, so I had purchased another copy. So this would potentially be one of the prizes going forward. And it's legit. It's all there. Everything's there. It's an artwork, an art book for everything Dragonlance and stuff like that. So stuff like that might be something that could end up being a prize for the trivia thing. Another one that I happen to have multiple copies of, and again, at some point I must have forgot that I had purchased all these books, and then went out and purchased them again. But this is another one For those of you Dragonlance fans, you may recognize this one. This one's kind of unique because it has all sorts of different things in it. Like it's got like stories and recipes, like legit recipes, and like sheet music. For those musicians, Eraserhead. It's got like legit sheet music and stuff for like songs from the stories. So pretty cool, pretty in depth. So that stuff could end up as prizes too. So between the 3D print stuff, some of this other stuff that I managed to find that I have multiple copies of, and you can see if you look over here now, you'll see that there's more books. Oops, sorry, I always do this. You'll see that they got more books there because I found a whole bunch of my Dragonlance stuff and stuff that was sitting in the box. So yeah. So those are going to be the types of things that'll be prizes, and like I said, it'll be once a month. It'll be the last stream of that month. That last Saturday will be when the trivia question will appear, and the trivia question will appear at some point in the episode. You know, it'll randomly be whenever I decide to put it out there, and then it'll be limited to fantasy, and it's going to be a matter of, you know, whoever answers the question correctly and emails me the correct answer, that's the person that will win that month's prize, and I will send it out to them. You know, you don't have to worry about it. I will take care of all the shipping and stuff. I'm not going to tell you to hit me up, PayPal me for shipping or anything stupid shit like that. I'll just be like, yo, dude, just give me your address and it'll be on the way. I'll email you with the tracking number when it's out, and that'll be the end of it. And because I figured, you know, like I said, we're doing the whole community thing. Got a little give and take, right? Like you guys take the time to show up, like Anthony in the middle of the night showing up and listening to me. You know, at least make it worth your while, right? Make it, everybody have a little fun. We could have a little trivia game. I think that'll be freaking cool. So that's that channel update. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, the next thing I wanted to mention was some stuff about JayJustJay's book. So yeah, so we met with some potential publishers earlier in the week, and sorry about that. So we met with some potential publishers earlier in the week, and right now, I don't know what's the best way to describe it. There's several routes open. I mean, you know, I appreciate that, Anthony. I appreciate that, you know, you're just enjoying hanging out for the stream, and God bless you, my friend. I really do appreciate that. But, you know, a little give and take, right? Like you guys show me support by showing up and interacting and in the chat and in the comment sections and stuff like that. You know, I don't mind, you know, sharing the fantasy wealth, right? So, you know, like I said, we'll have a good time. We'll make a good time out of it. So yeah, so me and Shady, we had a couple of meetings with a couple of publishers, and there's several routes that are open to us right now, or open to her right now, I should say. And she's sort of researching what's going to be the best approach for getting it published and getting it out there. But it's looking like no matter what route we end up going, it'll definitely be looking like it'll be available through Amazon. Definitely in a paperback version. More than likely in a hardback, as well as an electronic version. But again, I can't get into specifics because right now I don't know them. But these are all options that are currently on the table and that are being discussed. And as soon as there's movement and things are a go, I will let you guys know when it's ready and where you could potentially go if you are interested in checking it out. Speaking of which, wanted to share some additional artwork. This is artwork that was done by me. And so this is a piece of artwork. This is the Adwevial Empire, which are an empire that are led by elves. This is a illustration of what a typical soldier in the Adwevial Empire would look like. Yes, very much Tolkien inspired. That was my inspiration. Very Tolkien inspired for the illustration. So yes, that is an Adwevial Empire soldier. And let me see what else I got here. Okay, next one up is, this is a Breorian soldier, or it's just an illustration of what Breorian soldiers would look like. Okay. I don't know why I'm looking at my screens here, and the guy in the center looks a little bit more chunky probably on the stream than he really is. I think it sort of compressed the image a little bit. He's not that stout of a man, but yeah. So those are what like your Breorian infantry would look like, right? Your standard Breoria, right? I know that came out bad. When I was done, I was like, you know what? I like how that came out. And these are the next. All right, the next picture is my favorite, guys. And this is Dakar. These are the Dakari Triumvirate. This is a couple of their soldiers. They are the more Norse-inspired group of people from Dakar. So this is Dakar Triumvirate infantry. That's their look. That's their style. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I meant to share these actually with you guys last week, but we were doing other things with the stream, and I totally realized like a half hour after the stream ended, like, oh crap, I wanted to show the guys these other images I had done. But there you go. So that's what some of the armies of the empires in JayJustJay's book, The Knights of Temuin, look like. So those are illustrations that I've put together. So there you go. So I hope you guys enjoy that. All right. So let's see. So I covered JayJustJay's book. I covered the channel and the trivia stuff and the prizes and all that stuff. All right. I guess the only thing left to do now is we're gonna watch some Tales of the Ring. We will watch Dol Guldur, the Haunted Hill of Sauron. So I'm yeah, I mean it's fantasy, so hyper accuracy, kind of, it's there, but not like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, these guys would look great, but that would be, too heavy in a muddy situation, right? Like, I'm just doing a general illustration. Yeah, it just looks badass, so, that's me, that, as the illustrator, a little artistic license I took there, and those may only be like, the heavy infantry guys, right? I'm sure that, like, especially like the elves, the Adweevil guys would have like rangers and stuff like that, so sort of like scout type, archer guys that are fast on their feet, not weighed down with heavy armor. But all right, so having said that, and mind you, JayJustJay can jump in and correct me at any point if I'm speaking out of turn here. After all, it is the world that she created. I'm just sort of doing illustrations based on it. Let's watch some Dol Guldur. All right, so let's get into it. All right, I'm gonna switch over to here, and I am going to hit plate armor wasn't heavy. It was expensive. Yeah. That's true. You're absolutely right. I won't argue that point. I just think in a fantasy setting, it's kind of like, I mean, it's a fantasy setting where there are like dragons and sea serpents and undead and all sorts of other goodies out there. So, I mean, personally, I'd spend the extra cash on plate armor if I lived there. But, yeah, It would be expensive, especially resource wise. But I would think it would be worth it, especially if you leave the keep and you're more than 10 feet away. There's a good chance you could get eaten by a giant frog or something. I'd invest in the plate. All right, so let's check it out. Let's go to Dol Guldur, the Haunted Hill of Sauron.
Places of dread, places of darkness, places of evil, all shall be revealed. On the brink of the second millennium of the Third Age, an evil presence took over Amon Lunk, the former capital of the Woodland Realm. Originally, the kingdom had encompassed all of southern Greenwood, with dwellings about the hill of Amon Lunk. Disturbed by reports of Sauron's rising power, however, King Orofer began migrating northward with his people, and Sauron claimed what they left behind. A shadow fell upon Greenwood the Great so that elf and beast alike fled northward, and the forest was named Mirkwood. Soon after, the southern part of the forest became a place of desolation and of dread. Shadow and disease crept into root, stem and branch. Trees dried up and rotted from the inside as the forest withered and died. Foul spawns of Ungoliant found their abode in the darkness of Mirkwood. Dread spiders weaving grotesque webs, impenetrable by sunlight. An aura of darkness emanated from the new stronghold on the hill of Amon Lunk, and it was named Dol Guldur, the Hill of Sorcery.
Kind of cool looking. I like the music.
The growing shadow of Mirkwood drew the wary eyes of the wise, who feared that the master of Dol Guldur, a magician known as the Necromancer, might be one of the Ringwraiths. A Nazgul returned to spread darkness for his master Sauron. Gandalf began to suspect that Sauron himself might have returned. So in the year 2063 of the Third Age, he set forth on a quest to Dol Guldur, seeking to uncover the secrets of the Haunted Hill. But the shadow, unwilling to reveal itself, left the forest and fled east. Thus began the Watchful Peace, which lasted 400 years, until, when chance came, the master of Dol Guldur returned again in might. The fell shadow of Dol Guldur threatened to devour all of the former Greenwood, and was only stayed by Lothlorien, the golden forest of the Dream Flower. Gandalf returned to Dol Guldur, only to find out that the Necromancer was indeed Sauron, and that he had taken the last of the 7 rings from the dwarves. The Dark Lord had made his return, gathering the remaining rings of power and desperately searching for the one.
Some here will remember that many years ago I myself dared to pass the doors of the Necromancer in Dol Guldur. I secretly explored his ways and found thus that our fears were true. He was none other than Sauron, our enemy of old, at length taking shape and power again. Some too will remember also that Saruman dissuades us from open deeds against him, and for long we watched him only. Yet at last, as his shadow grew, Sauron yielded, and the council put forth its strength and drove the evil out of Mirkwood. And that was the very year of the finding of the ring. A strange chance, if chance it was. But we were too late, as Elrond foresaw. Sauron also had watched us, and he had long prepared against our stroke, governing Mordor from afar through Minas Morgul, where his 9 servants dwelt until all was ready.
After the Council of the Wise attacked the fortress, Sauron was forced to retreat to Barad-dûr, but he was only stayed for a while. For not long after, Sauron sent 3 Nazgul led by Karmul to reclaim Dol Guldur and rebuild their stronghold of darkness for the War of the Ring. Escaping from Moria, the Fellowship of the Ring entered Lothlorien, and the rumor of the appearance of the One Ring distracted Sauron. With the support from Moria, the forces of Dol Guldur led an assault upon the northern lands, devastating the outer woodlands. An orc army crossed the river Anduin through the north Undeep and assaulted Lothlorien. But the valor of the elves prevailed, and the enemy was repelled. On the 15th of March, when the Battle of the Pelennor Field was raging in Gondor, Dol Guldur unleashed the second assault on Lothlorien, and sending forth troops at the same time to conquer Thranduil's realm in Mirkwood. There, a long battle ensued under the trees of Mirkwood that left the formerly glorious realm a great ruin of fire. But in the end, the enemy was vanquished and the elves victorious on both fronts. But victory was dearly bought. For bitter were the losses for King Thranduil, and many elves fell in defense of their lands. Many songs were sung about the battle under trees, and many tears were shed. The third and last attack was made 7 days later, on the 22nd of March. Thrice the enemy attacked, and thrice the onslaught was repelled. For the power that dwelled there was far too great for any to overcome, save if Sauron himself had come to battle. Then Celeborn and Galadriel came forth from Lothlorien to lead the Galadrim across the Anduin in a fleet of many boats. And Galadriel threw down the wall of Dol Guldur and laid bare its pits. Thus, evil was forever banished from the forest. After the destruction of the One Ring, Mirkwood was renamed anew Erun Lasgalen, the Wood of Green Leaves, and the Hill of the Necromancer in turn was named Amon Lunk, as of old it was known before the coming of the Shadow.
Nice. Very nice.
Then he gave way before us, but only feigned to flee, and soon after came to the Dark Tower and openly declared himself. Then for the last time the council met, for now we had learned that he was seeking ever more eagerly for the One. We feared then that he had some news of it that we knew nothing of, but Saruman said nay, and repeated what he had said to us before, that the One would never again be found in Middle-earth. At the worst, said he, our enemy knows that we have it not, and that it still is lost. But what was lost may yet be found, he thinks. Fear not, his hope will cheat him. Have I not earnestly studied this matter? Into Anduin the Great it fell, and long ago while Sauron slept it was rolled down into the river to the sea. There let it lie until the end.
Yeah, these guys, they know what they're doing. Bravo to them. Bravo. I'm hitting the wrong buttons when I'm doing. All right. Yeah, their visuals are always awesome. I love when they do that sort of top-down tactical view to sort of give you the big picture of what's going on with the battles per se. I really dig that. I really, really dig that. Yeah, like I said, I just love their stuff. I think it's really, really good. So shout out to Makaru who had suggested that I check those out. Also, I noticed in there, all of this was in March, right? So it's actually this month. So remember, Wednesday, the Ides of March. I'm sorry, not Wednesday. That's next month. Okay, yeah. So next month, on March 15th, is when the first of the 3 battles will take place. So I'm gonna be that weird guy who on like March 22nd walks around and says, people are like, oh, well, why are you so happy and stuff. I'm like, well, because this marks the final battle where Sauron's forces were kicked out of Lothlorien for the last time during the War of the Ring. And I know my coworkers are gonna look at me like I'm batshit crazy, but what the hell? Have a little fun with it. Yeah, I don't know why for a minute there I thought it was March. Yeah. Whew. See, this is why I need weekends. This is definitely why I need weekends. Oops. Sorry. Hit the wrong thing. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So, like I said, I like it. I love when they give the top down for the sort of strategic view, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I just always dig that. So that's just a me thing, I suppose. But yeah, and thanks to JayJustJay for correcting me. Yes, okay, all 3 realms have rangers as well as other branches of the military. This helps to erase the horror. Yes. Yeah, well, I mean that's one of the things why I like highlighting good Lord of the Rings inspired stuff, like the Tales of the Ring videos and some of the other individual music videos that we've been watching, is because it does sort of clean the palette from as I like to refer to it, the shit show that is/was Rings of Power. So, but I don't know. I really don't want to talk about that. That show, I should say. Not today. Trust me. All throughout the week, I'm gonna have 1,000,001 articles probably to go through to, as people try to, put up smoke screens and sort of, run interference for that show and try to justify its existence. So I'm sure I will be talking a lot of shit about that show during the week. But today, I wanted to focus on the good stuff, right? So, Tales of the Ring was the one thing, and the next thing is it's Karliene, Karliene. So how would you pronounce that, guys? Help me out in the chat. Karliene? Karliene? Is it like Karliene with the emphasis on the I-E-N? But she's got a music video for her song Lament for Boromir. Karliene. Okay. Thank you, JayJustJay. This is why you're an author and I have a YouTube channel. Because you know how to work the English. You know how to work that language thing. So this is Karliene, and this is the Lament for Boromir. So let's hop right into it. And yeah, and I'm gonna hit play, and let's check it out.
Through Rohan over fen and field, where the long grass grows, the west wind comes walking, and about the walls it goes. What news from the west, oh wandering wind, do you bring to me tonight? Have you seen Boromir the tall, by moon or by starlight? I saw him ride over 7 streams, over waters wide and grey. I saw him walk in empty lands until he passed away. Into the shadows of the north, I saw him then no more. born of the son of Denethor. Oh, Boromir, from the high walls westward I looked afar, but you came not from the empty lands where no men are. From the mouths of the sea the south wind flies, from the sand hills and the stones. The wailing of the gulls it bears, and at the gate it moans. What news from the south, oh sighing wind, do you bring to me at eve? Where now is Boromir the fair, he tarries and I grieve. Ask not of me where he doth dwell, so many bones there lie. On the white shores, on the dark shores, under the stormy sky. So many have passed down Anduin to find the flowing sea. Ask of the north wind news of them, the north wind sends to me. Oh, Boromir, beyond the gates, the seaward road runs south. But you came not with the wailing gulls from the grey sea's mouth. From the gate of kings the north wind rides, and past the roaring falls, and clear and cold about the tower its loud horn calls. What news from the north, oh mighty wind, do you bring to me today? What news of Boromir the bold, for he is long away. Neath Temuin I heard his cry, many foes he fought. His cloven shield, his broken sword, they to the water brought. His head so proud, his face so fair, his limbs they laid to rest. And Rauros gold and Rauros falls bore him upon his breast. Oh, Boromir, the tower of God, shall ever northward gaze. To Rauros golden Rauros falls until the end of days.
Hey, I think that's it. Yep. Wow. That was pretty cool. Wow. That was Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, she does have an awesome voice. That yeah. That was kind of impressive. Like okay, my only criticism, and you know, I'm honest with you guys, you know, so you know, I do have a criticism, and if I had one, I would say I wish there was more to it, like it was like a legit video, or at the very least had the lyrics up on screen, because you know, I was just staring at the picture, but I was trying to listen to the lyrics and what was going on there, and not that it was difficult, but it just, you know, if there was something to sort of, you know, follow along with visually, it would have, I think, you know, helped me a little bit. But yeah, she really does have a nice voice. it was almost sort of semi. It was like a cappella. Like I'm assuming she did all the backing tracks as well as far as the vocals and stuff like that. So that's really good. It's got 4.5 million views. So she's clearly done something right. And she's definitely a talented individual. And yeah, I enjoy stuff like that. I enjoy seeing, you know, other folks, not who aren't big corporations, who don't have millions and millions of dollars to back them so that they can make whatever they want just happen. I enjoy like people like this, like independent artists who come across Tolkien's work and they're inspired by it and they do like amazing things with it, like Tales of the Ring, like Karliene. Yeah, that's just awesome. I think that's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. She did phenomenal work. She did phenomenal work. Can't even lie. Can't even lie. All right, folks. According to the clock on the little computer screen that I got going on over there, we're just about coming up on the hour mark. So, I think that's probably gonna do it for this live stream. I have got a Valentine's Day dinner date planned with Mrs. JayJustJay in a little while after this, so I've got to go get cleaned up and freshened up and look all sorts of presentable and stuff for the public because we are going out to celebrate Valentine's Day. But yeah, so I hope that you're gonna be interested in doing the trivia stuff. Thanks, Anthony. I hope you guys are going to be interested in the trivia stuff on the channel. Like I said, I'm trying to, you know, I want to do some sort of like statuettes. Now, just for the record, to be clear here, the statuettes, they're not going to be huge, but they're going to be like, you know, it's hard really to show here, but I'd say maybe like, you know, something like that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing like monstrous stuff like that, but you know, something like that, something that could fit on your desk and stuff like that. So anyway, have a good one, Lurch Troll. Thank you for showing up and participating in the live stream. And join us anytime, man. We're always down for having a good time and shooting the shit and watching, you know, some really good videos and hearing some good music. And I appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time out to hang with us. So yeah, so that's gonna do it. I hope that you guys are interested in the trivia stuff. Like I said, I'm not gonna make it easy. Just a heads up. Take care, Eraserhead. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, on that note, I am going to take off as well, and that's going to do it for the stream. And thank you, everyone, for showing up and participating, and I will see you throughout the week. We're going to have more videos. You know it, and I know it. Somebody's going to write some articles, and I'm going to have to respond and share the craziness with you guys. So, all right, guys, until then, be good, be safe, be awesome. Remember, stay more dorkish. Until the next time, guys, peace.